with a reward on his head. The threat of death lingering over him. And trust God completely to feed him twice a day. And after a period of time, because he said there's to be no rain, because he said there's to be no rain, the brook dried up. So God sent him over to, I keep thinking the name of the town where she was at, the little widow lady. And from my understanding, it was 100 miles of harsh terrain. And he was a wanted man. So not only did he come out of seclusion, now he had to expose himself to possibly capture. But God said, go to a woman who I have ordered to sustain you. Now when I go to a woman I'm expecting to sustain me, I'm expecting her to have a big old fine home and a lot of resources, you know, a nice house, a nice comfortable bed, and plenty of food. But when he got there, the little old lady was making her last cake for her and her son to die. Now, Lord, if you're going to send me for someone to keep me, please let them have enough for all of us. She looked more like a woman that he needed to take care of instead of her take care of him. He says, ma'am, could you give me a cup of water? And she says, yeah. And she got him some water. He said, and while you're at it, make me a little cake to eat. She said, as your Lord lives. See, she didn't even know the Lord. As your Lord lives, I'm about to make me I got just enough flour and oil to make me and my boy a little cake that we're going to eat and then we're going to die. He said, as the Lord liveth. Yeah. He said, just go and make one for me first. He says, and your flour will never go dry, and your oil will never go dry. And for the remainder of the famine, there was enough flour and oil, just enough to make breakfast. And then when she went back for lunch, there was just enough to make lunch. And then there was just enough to make dinner. And this continued as long as she needed it. You would say, man, God's going to bless that lady because she is faithful to give to the prophet. Then she walks out one day and the baby boy is dead. Did God bring you here so that my child could die? Did I do all of this for you? Hello? Did I do all of this for you, that I served God all these years for my child to die? Have I served you all these years for me to lose my job and now risk losing my home? Have I served you all these years for me to have my car repossessed? Have I served you all these years for my health to deteriorate? Are you listening to me, folks? We all can find something that we can say, God, I served you and now you've let me down. No, God hasn't let you down. He's stretching you. He's making you a container of His glory. Because see, this same man took that little baby and laid on him and prayed for him and breathed into his mouth until that boy's eyes opened up. I heard a brother say the other day, Brother Tapscott, Decker Tapscott, that was down in camp. He said that God promised him, told him, said, I'm going to give you a home. You're going to have your own home. And he started praying for the house he was living in. He said, I didn't realize God didn't want me to have this old broke down house. He wanted to give me a nice house. He said, in 2 weeks after God promised me, I was homeless. My wife and I was homeless. How many of you ever been homeless? Yes. He said, little did I know that there was a young man who had been praying for me to come and have a closer relationship with Him, that He said He wanted me to mentor him. Said I moved in with him, my wife and I moved in with him and his wife and their 18-month-old baby. And little did I know, he said God knew it, but little did we know that he would back out the car and run over his 18-month-old baby. He said he was squashed like a pancake. His eyes were popping out of his head. And he went to rush him to the hospital, and he said, I'll stay here and pray. And the mother said, no, you're not. You're coming with me. I want you to know something. When you got the man of God, you better grab him. When he's your only connection to Jesus, you better grab him. He got in the car and he's praying, and the Lord said, rebuke death, command him out of the car. And he said, he started praying in tongues. And the Lord said, I said, command death out of the car. He said, I turned around and looked at the people in the back seat, this child laying there, and I said, death, I rebuke you and command you out of this car. He said immediately that baby's eyes popped back in his head and they opened up and he started to breathe. They took him on to the hospital to have him examined. There wasn't even a scratch nor a bruise. That's what God does.
Yes.
Amen. Decker had to be homeless in order to raise a child. And you say, I don't know what I'm going to do. Woe is me. Come on. God's trying to stretch you to use you for miracles. He wants to use you in a tremendous way. Stop complaining. Stop boo-hooing around. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. And start saying, God, I know you got something for me, and I'm going to go and do whatever you call me to do. Amen. He wants you to be a container of His glory. He wants you to contain His glory. And I want to be a container of His glory. This same Elijah. Later, you know the story. I haven't got this far in the book, but I know how the story ends. He challenged the prophets of Baal and the prophets of Ashtoreth. And he called them up on Mount Carmel. And he told them, said, you pray that your God will call down fire and consume the offering. And while you're doing that, I'll build my altar. Yes. And so he went and he poured water all over that altar. And the reason he poured water on the altar is because, see, they had those, how many of you know they're scam artists of all eras?
Yes. Yes.
They would put hot coals underneath the altar. Then they would fan it and it would catch fire. And people would say, oh, it's a miracle. So he ordered that there be water there first to prove that this is no scam. And the Bible says that they began to pray unto their God, but there was no answer. They began to cut themselves, still no answer. And so after about half the day gone by, Elijah starts going out and mocking them. Hey boys, maybe you should yell a little louder because he's not hearing you from where he's at. Maybe he's gone on a long journey. Maybe he's on vacation. And in one place he said maybe he's sitting on the toilet. You won't find that in the King James Version, but that is in the original Hebrew. Maybe he's sitting on the toilet.
Uh-oh.
Maybe he's preoccupied.
Uh-oh.
And then finally he gets up and he just calls on the name of the Lord, and the Lord sent fire. And the Bible says that he ordered the people to take the prophets out and to kill them. And you say, well, he had this great victory on Mount Carmel. And then Jezebel sent word, this day tomorrow, you're dead. Oh, wait a minute now. Here's a man that just seen God feeding twice a day with bread and meat from a raven. Provide water from the brook. And when it dried up, he went over. Traveled 100 miles to have an endless amount of bread every day. Raised a child from the dead and then called fire from